Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. This video is a 187% improvement in more phone calls for one of my clients from February through June, year over year. If you want to learn more about me, you can pause this video. Again, I'm Greg from TM Blast. Now, the main thing that I want to stress is that this is just Google My Business clicks on the phone icon, predominantly from mobile search. 187% improvement, again, in phone calls February through June. Does not include Bing, does not include Apple Maps, does not include non-trackable phone calls. Like, so someone searches on their desktop who sees the phone number, then calls with their phone. I can't track that. Nor does this include any website clicks that we have event tracking for. This is what I did. Now I'm actually going to get I'm going to go back to the slide a little bit later. So you can pause right now if you want to read, but I'm going to get back into this later on in this video and explain each of these points in more detail. But let me go over really the results because that's probably what you guys care about. So this is a heat map for my client. They're in Brooklyn, New York. This is essentially what you want the map to be as green as you possibly can. Each of these dots represent a fictitious search that could take place in and around the location of my client for what they offer. And you want to be position one, two, or three. That's the map pack. That's going to be on page one of Google. That's what's going to get you the most phone calls for your service. So what do I mean by that? So I took a fictitious search again. So kitchen contractors Albany just to get the map pack. So anytime there's a local intent behind it, search for food, near me, HVAC, locksmith, whatever, Google's going to now show a map pack listing. They always show three organic. That's position one, two, or three. That is the share of local voice. That's what I'm trying to get all my clients into, as many of those dots as I can, one, two, or three. You can see when you're on your phone, you can call the listing. That's how we get most of the phone calls. If you're past position three, you have to click on more businesses to get now more map listings. That's why getting position one, two, or three is so critical for any local account that I have. And also for my client. Numbers at a high level. So again, I'm stressing this, 71% of impressions come from a traditional Google search. So again, you're on your phone, you search for something like, let's say HVAC, three map pack listings show up, then you can call that directly. Only 29% of it comes from a specific map search, but it could be someone clicking on more businesses or somebody starting their search of Google Maps and then trying to find um, a a business to interact with. So again, and also mobile is the preferred way for most of the impressions, which is obviously where phone calls come in. Keyword one, share of local voice. Again, that's position one, two, and three. Improvements. You can see I've redacted the keyword. I've also redacted their name, but I'm really trying to stress exactly that this did take some time for them to see this improvement. And they have the highest now share of local voice for this one particular keyword. What I did also here is I included all their competitors, or actually only the top five. But I do this because when I'm doing local SEO for clients, and for this client, for example, I look at who is winning. So when I do the initial keyword scan, I look at the top competitors and I will actually add them into a side-by-side comparison for gaps. So things like hours, name, categories, products and services, updates, photos, reviews, anything like that. Anything that we can kind of add to try to, close that gap. But you can see here, my client that's in red, they're at the highest share of local voice now for that one keyword. Here's the map. So February 9th, I took just a random screenshot just to kind of show you how the map has changed for them back in February now to July. A lot more green dots, as you can see, position one, two, or three. Keyword two, again, redacted. Share of local voice now is continuously growing for them. And I did the same thing in. Here's all the top five competitors. They are now at the highest level. They've overtaken the competitor in green. The competitor in green was actually ranking very well. So when we initially started that, the local SEO, we really focused on this and said, what can we do to improve our ranks? We use them as kind of like the focal point and said, this is all they have in their Google My Business account. They did other things too, but this was a real way for us to say, how can we kind of leapfrog them and take away market share? And you can see here now the map has changed red to green. This is a huge part of the strategy for what's happening with more phone calls, essentially, is that all throughout now the Brooklyn area, they are showing up in that position one, two, or three. Let's scroll all the way back to now what I did. So I want to go over this in more detail because this is kind of a lot. So anytime either potential client comes to me or if I have a client currently, we set up local Falcon tracking for that keyword and we both agree upon the desired location and radius. So my client's out in Brooklyn, New York. A mile or two is really all you have to win, how densely populated that is compared to upstate New York, where we might do 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40 miles, depending on what we need to do. So we set up all that. That's the baseline metric. Then I will also add more keywords over time. We start with the primary keyword, then we focus on secondary keywords. So my client, this is not a HVAC company, but let's just pretend they were. the primary keyword would just be HVAC or HVAC near me or HVAC company. But then secondary keywords would be things like how about a um a range hood installation or anything else like that. Like that's a secondary part of HVAC. We might now go after that. So like HVAC's the primary keyword, and then the range hood installation might be like a secondary because it's like a specific type of a service that they provide. So we keep expanding the keyword universe. Then I use Local Falcons AI. Um, this is a great first step. This gives out, very basic optimizations. You can do things like maybe category gaps. Do you have any social media accounts that are there? When's like your last review you got? And these are all like really helpful to get started with. But I do quite a bit more than simply just what the AI feature just gives off. But it's nice to get like a second set of eyes. Because at me at TM Blast, it's just me. So I always like to have the AI feature kind of give me additional suggestions just so I'm not blinded by my own bias of what I need to do. I like having a second set of eyes saying, hey, also consider this. Then I do that side-by-side comparison. So I was mentioning that when I use the trend report, I will look at who is outranking us at the time, and then I will look at a side-by-side comparison. You can do that within Local Falcon, but I also like to take it and go into Excel as well, and then really break out as many different gaps that I can see, things like updates, social media accounts, reviews, review average, photos, categories, anything else like that. Then I add a comprehensive service and product listing within the Google My Business account. So services need to be like really closely related to what your primary category is. So what I've noticed sometimes is that for other clients you have like a wide range of services you provide. So let's stick with like a contractor, for example. If your primary service is kitchen contractor, bathroom contractor, bedroom contractor, basement contractor, you kind of want to just focus on that within services. Don't list off you do like your secondary or third type of like listing, like TV mounting, for example. The reason why you don't want to do that is because you don't want to really take away the focus of like your bread and butter. So don't just list off everything you can do, because then when your Google My Business account is kind of optimized, it's going to look like you sort of do like a lot of different things, but nothing exactly specific. So just try to have your services match your primary category. Then I do things like website optimization to be as local as we can. Things like adding the Google My Business map to the footer, but also get more localized on the landing pages that we link out to on our products. So things like areas we serve, we talk about the community, we talk about different information around, like, let's say even like public transportation to get to this particular area. Anything that would help from like a local signal on a website, we're gonna add to really get like that trusted part of we are a local business and we're established. Entity building, this is huge. I think I've been talking about this all in 2024. I've been preaching this to all my clients, and I even do this too for TM Blast, but I'm really trying to expand the entity footprint for all of my clients. So gain them, not only listed on just, social media accounts, of course, but like looking at Chamber of Commerce's, looking at city-specific directories. That is so key because when Google is crawling the web and they're looking for as many signals as you can't just simply have a website. You got to be listed on, Trust Index, and you got to be listed on Chamber of Commerce's and other city-specific directories as well. Because a lot of times too, this can pass referral traffic and even leads to a client, and of course also can help your SEO with their rankings if it's a high-value link, whether it's a do follow or no follow, it doesn't really make a difference. Just the fact that you have another site talking about your brand at your location and your address is very, very critical. Entity building is just something I've been stressing for all my clients, and even all these videos too. I think if you're looking to build your local presence, you got to invest outside of simply just your website. And then last but not least is constant monitoring. So let's say I get a top ranking for one of my clients. I'll just like we'll look at maybe, let's go down like this. I won't just stop and say, okay, now I've reached, like the top and now I can just kind of sit back. I have weekly scans that take place, because if I notice that anything kind of changed, let's say we dropped off like 40% or anything else like that, like that's an immediate, action I need to take. So if I go back up to this, I have scans that are running. So if anything that drops, I have to kind of go through, do the same thing again, do a competitor review, who overtook us, what can we do? Should we get more aggressive with our updates? Should we rephrase our description? Are they doing things like, do they have like different hours? So like if I ran the scan, let's say at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night, and the competitor now is open until 8 o'clock at night, like I might, send it over to my client and say, hey, we're potentially losing out on the off hours just because of your competitor now has longer hours than you, so we're winning until we, let's say, go offline or we're closed. So just things like that. Constant monitoring is so key because you don't want to lose your top rankings. Because if you do, if I scroll all the way back down to the bottom, you can see it's going to take a while to get back to the top. So you don't want to drop and then not do anything. You want to be very quick and make the changes that you need to do to get back to your top rankings. Anyway, that's kind of the SEO case study. Again, 187% improvement in phone calls. Again, this is just Google My Business. If you guys have any questions about this video or this case study, feel free to reach out. If you're looking for similar results, you can go to my business website, tmblast.com. I offer local SEO services. Happy to take a look at your account. Anyway, hope you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And as always, have a good rest of your day.